Okay.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to our second episode of High Vibin' with Hilary and Rev Rob. I am Rev Rob Banaszak, and I am the Spiritual SPINister, soul practitioner, readings, and I do weddings and other intuitive experiences, meditations, and love doing and creating content right here with my friend Hilary from Hilary's Mindful Living. Hello, Hilary.
Hello. And I am Hilary Loewenstein, and I am a life coach and a spiritual teacher. And you can find me all over the place because I'm saturating social media. Come find me on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. New content updated daily.
You're my inspiration. Gosh, I like loud forward. So here we are, and this was your brainchild, and so I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here and do this. We
And
are
today we're in a cafe.
we are in a cafe, thanks to Zoom. These great backgrounds together. And we're old friends, and we've had these kinds of conversations pretty much since we met, because we met in kind of a spiritual and metaphysical way. And so, what a great idea and great opportunity we have to have these conversations as content for our viewers and listeners. And I always enjoy finding out more about you. And so today we're going to talk about synchronicity and alignment, and when things kind of happen that, I know coincidence is a dirty word for you. So yes, when things that happen that seem to be a coincidence, but may not be. What about that?
Yes.
Talk to me.
Yes. And I really do feel that everything that's going on is synchronistic. Like there's nothing that's an accident. Everything happens for a reason. I really do believe that. So would you like to hear a story of
I
a
would.
time that was
Yes.
synchronistic for me? Is that a word? Synchronistic?
It is. It is. It is. I try to find, like, I try to Google like synchronous or synchronous. I never can find it, but I use it. So yes.
Okay. Today
Yes.
it's a word.
It is a word today. Yes. We've declared it. So
Um, okay, so we recently adopted a new dog. Her name is Venus. She's been with us, a little over probably almost 2 years now. And it's kind of an interesting story of how we came to get her. We've always had very light dogs for matching our carpet and our furniture. We don't want any of the shedding showing up. It's still there, but you can't see it. So anyway, we were headed to a rescue place thinking that we were going to look at a cute golden retriever, Mutzi. And on the way down, I said to my husband, what do you think of the name Venus? Now, I need to say that I love everything about Venus. I'm so connected to Venus. And, to me, it represents heart and love. And that's kind of where I try to be. So I'm very connected to that. And he said, Venus, He's like, I don't really see that for a dog, especially a light colored dog. If anything, if it was a black dog, maybe, but we're looking for a light colored dog. So no. So we get to the place and we're holding these lighter puppies, and we looking at each other and it just doesn't feel right. And we're just like, this isn't the one. So we said, okay, we'll keep waiting. And as we're walking out the door, this lady comes up to us and she says, I know you were looking for a lighter dog. However, have you met Venus? And I was like, oh my God, Venus.
that's so great.
So we go over there and I look at Kevin, I'm like, we got to meet
Sorry.
this dog,
Right.
right? So she opens up the crate and out comes this black labish dog, and she lays on her back and wants us to rub her tummy. And that was it. We fell in love. And now we have a dog named Venus, and she's a black dog. And we did have to change our couch to a darker color.
See, it's amazing what we do for our little fur babies, right? Yes, they find us for sure, for sure.
Yeah. How about you? Did
That's
you ever
cool.
have
Well,
any?
so we also have a dog. We have dog Synchronicity, and that was our oldest dog. Hilo is now. We had him. I think we got think we became new dog owners around the same time, and I think that was when I got my second dog that you guys got, Venus. But our older dog Hilo, we got when my dog had died about a month prior to that, and I was devastated. But I really felt like if we don't get another dog, we're going to be able to easily live without a dog, and I didn't want that gap to be. I wanted that gap to be kind of closed. I didn't want to have a long period where I suddenly had to readjust to dog walking. And as you know, like once you don't walk a dog, it's nice to not have to walk them. So anyway, we went back to the drawing board, and we we had had a male dog. I wanted a female dog because male dogs are annoying with their just incessant peeing and marking, and I was over that. So but I also was going to name it after a character from our favorite show, Battlestar Galactica, the reboot, the one from the 2000s. And I wanted the female dog to be named Starbuck. So we're looking online at Lucky Dog from Virginia. We love them. And this dog pops up, and the dog is this beautiful, perfect sized dog. It indicates that it's the same mix that my dog that had died was, or part of the same mix, named Starbuck, except that the dog was a male dog named Starbuck, and likely named after the original Battlestar Galactica Starbuck character, who was male. But it didn't matter, because once we saw this dog, he was a puppy, and he was so cute. And then they sent video. We knew that, like, well, I called for that name for my dog, and the universe responded by showing me a dog with that name. And so it took no time at all before we had him. We didn't keep the name because I didn't want anyone thinking that we were naming him after the 70s show, which I did not like. So we changed him to another character's name in the current in the reboot. But then 2 years later, when another dog coincidentally ended up in our vision, we got her and snatched her up, and she was Starbuck. And so now we have our little Starbuck dog. But the whole thing was because I said I wanted a dog with this name, just like you did, and there
Right.
the dog was. And
right. I wanted to
go
say,
with it,
yeah, I wanted to say with that is, I think it's really important when you get these like special magical synchronicity type moments to go with it. And so for me, there was no question when I was shown this dog named Venus that I was going to go home with her. Honestly, even if she was a bad dog, and she kind of is, I probably would have gone home with her, because that I feel like it's synchronistic, the universe is pointing you towards something. So just like with you, with your doggy, it didn't matter that you didn't name that dog Starbuck. The universe brought you the dog that was right for you.
Correct. Yes.
So you had to get the dog. If you didn't, you wouldn't have been in flow, right?
Right, totally. And we knew that, like we knew it. So you bring up a good point. And I do remember that when you brought her home, it was more challenging than you might have thought it would have been for a dog. So did your moment of synchronicity kind of guide you through that time? Were you able to think, well, this is what I asked for, the universe brought it to me, so I know that I can make it through whatever we need to make it through, because she's being difficult? Did it help guide you in that way?
Well, for sure. So she was really bad for a while. We got her, she was already 6 months old when we got her. So some of her habits were already there. And I definitely could see why, unfortunately, people gave her up, because she's a very hyper dog. And in the beginning, it was really hard to calm her down. She still gets about 3 to 4 miles of walking every day, which is a lot. But yeah, there was no question, that I wasn't going to keep her. And I did feel, and I still feel in some ways, that our meeting was more about helping her, because she came from a very abusive background. And I know that because she had no muscle tone on her back 2 legs, because our vet said she must have been in a crate like 24/7. So I think that's kind of what created this crazy, like hyper dog. So there were moments where I was like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? But I always felt like, since it was so synchronistic, that we were meant to be together. And this time period is for me to help her. But I have this sense that later she'll be the one helping me,
Oh, absolutely. She already is. I mean, you know she is, like,
Right.
totally. And
Right.
but I mean that's like a step back from synchronicity, and I think it's a practical view of it, because yes, everybody has those moments where things seem to be aligned, and if you're open to them, you can go with them. But long term, then those same moments can help you kind of hold your ground, keep your faith. It's like a reminder that, wait, this, I asked for this, and it was given to me almost just as I
Right.
asked for it. So there's something there.
Yeah.
And I think it's a way of kind of, yeah, remaining faithful to what you had
Yeah.
indicated you wanted, you know?
Well, yeah. Can I share one more synchronicity
Yes, please.
story that kind of proves that, I
Mhm.
guess. So I'm married to my high school sweetheart, and
I,
I I
yeah.
transferred to a different high school in, I guess, in the end of 11th grade, which is pretty difficult for most people. I'm not sure why I was so agreeable about it, but I was. And I remember I had one friend when I transferred, and I remember we were looking through the yearbook and we were looking at guys that we thought were cute. And we were circling people that we wanted to know, or whatever.
Right.
And I didn't circle anyone because there wasn't anyone I was really that into, except for this one like cutie who was all over the yearbook, who turns out later on became my husband. But I circled him. He worked for the yearbook or whatever. So he was all over it. And I kept saying, who is this guy? Who is this guy? And I remember I put a little heart around him, and fast forward a couple months later, we met up and started dating. And again, I made that connection. And I knew, even at the young age of, I don't know, 16, 17,
Right.
that this was something special because it was brought to me. It was synchronistic.
Mhm. It was, yeah. So, I mean, and I feel like those are the moments that were so, not just in the moment that they feel so good. It's like they're supposed to be reminders that this is the way it's supposed to be. And there's a way to stay faithful, stay in the zone, in the flow, in the magic of it all. My husband and I arrived in Washington, D.C. He is from New Mexico. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We arrived the same week in 1994. Thanksgiving week, we both, you know, he hopped on a plane, I hopped in a car, and we both arrived there. And then it took about, I'm going to say, just under a year before our orbits started to intersect. And so it turns out that we each were best friends with the same person. So he was my bestie. He became my bestie, and he was my husband's bestie. And it was a couple that we were very close with. And I had just come off of, I was recently widowed, and I was still looking for somebody and looking for that kind of spark that I had known with my first love. And so we spent a lot of time together, but we really were we were not attracted to one another. We were friends by default because we were with the same, the same intersecting couple. And we loved to go dancing. And one day when my friends couldn't go on a weekend, we thought, well, okay, I guess we can go together because we like to dance and, whatever. And so that kind of started down this road of just kind of getting together as pals, or as even more, I mean, less than pals, more like acquaintances, and discovered some kind of spiritual intersections that were happening. And one day I had seen the movie Clueless. Do you remember, with Alicia Silverstone?
Oh, yeah.
Great movie of the
Great
era.
movie. Still holds up.
Definitely dating ourselves. But there was a point in the movie where, spoiler alert, the character of Cher, played by Lisa Silverstone, realizes that she's actually in love with her stepbrother, who they've been, snarking at each other the entire movie. And it's like this, you just see the walls, this avalanche comes down, and she realizes, like, oh my God, it's Josh, played by Paul Rudnick. And and you see the light bulb go off, and it's not something that she was like all excited about. She's like, "Oh no, it's Josh." So I'm describing this moment because it seems like a really idyllic moment for me to like that seems like the aspiration. Like, wouldn't that be great to realize that you're in love with somebody who's standing next to you that you didn't even think of in that way? And I'm telling this to one of the couple members that is our intersection, and he said, "Well, hello, it's Wade." And in the moment that I'd asked for a moment that looked like Alicia Silverstone's moment, I had the moment. Like,
My
I
goodness.
literally said, I wish I could have that moment. And my friend said, "Hello, it's him." And then I had, like, in that same moment, I had it. Like, it was like,
Oh,
oh my God. Like, it was exactly the moment that I asked for. So,
that's so
and you know,
beautiful.
you can't, those are big moments. Those moments have guided me through good times and bad, because it's like, those are gifts. They don't
Yeah.
happen
And don't
every
you think really that it honestly, I mean, it really is the magic of the universe. And I mean, I feel like it sort of keeps you on your path. Like you were meant to be with this person,
right,
you were supposed to be with this person. Of course, you always have free will, so you didn't have to choose this person. And it's not
right.
always going to be perfect with this person. It's not, marriage. We've both been married a long time.
Yep.
Certainly not easy, but you just feel like, well, this is the way it's supposed to be. It was brought to me. So when we follow those moments, they lead you again and again and again to
Mhm.
something else. And I think it ultimately brings more goodness to your life when you're open and then you choose to follow it. Like I think everybody has synchronistic moments every day. It's
Right,
just, are you paying attention to
right,
them? Something else, there's a lot of synchronicity. You're thinking about something and you turn on your radio and there's the message that you needed to hear in a song. Or every day you see 11:11 right at a certain time frame when maybe you're wondering what your purpose is, or who knows, whatever, and then out pops that master number, all those ones.
right.
There's just so many clues. It's like this beautiful puzzle,
It
you
is.
know and you don't have to follow those clues, but I have a feeling that life is smoother when you follow those
Right. So I
clues.
actually have an 1111 synchronistic story.
Mhm.
So I began to see that number, as many do, in the digital age, when you started having the digital clocks, and the clocks were, not the analog clocks that had the numbers, but you saw, you could see the time clicking through. I began to see 1111 on my car clock. This is like in 19, again, I'm dating myself, whatever, 1989 or something. And so I had a friend that was in the car with me, and he said, "Well, 1111, make a wish." I'd never heard that before.
Yeah.
But when he said it, I thought, "Oh, that's cute." Then I started to see it like, it didn't matter. When I looked at the clock, that's when I saw it. It really freaked me out. And this
Yeah.
happened before I moved to DC, but when I moved to DC, it still continued. You start to kind of share that with some people, and they have similar experiences. Then there used to be this new age bookstore that was in DuPont Circle, and it was on the second floor, like right in the center. And I went up I was just browsing through the bookstore one day, and I found this book, like 1111, Open the Doorway or something. And I was like, what? This is a book. There's this whole thing about this, not just make a wish, but. And I walked up to the cashier, and I handed her the book, and she looks at me and she goes, "Oh, so you're one too, eh?" And I was like, what? I don't know what I am. So, and to be honest with you, I didn't understand a word of the book. Yeah,
Well,
it's
they say that 11:11 is, when you see 11:11, it's sort of an opening, like in the universe, like whatever you wish is our command, or
Mhm.
is your how do you say that? I don't know. Anyway, it's like a portal at that
Yeah.
time where you can, anything that you really want to create for yourself, it's a more powerful time to create it. So a lot of people see that number. And I also used to hear that expression, 1111, make a wish.
Really?
Yeah, when I was a kid, like everybody said it. And I don't think it's really said so much anymore, but I notice everyone sees that number. It's a master number, you know, it's
More people see it.
yeah, it's really cool.
Well, I really feel like it's an example of just so, did I had, okay, my ego is telling me, oh my God, I'm like Harry Potter. I'm just hearing this sign and I'm going to follow this sign. I'm going to like rescue the world. But it became more of a reminder. So every time I would see it now, every time I see it now, it's just it's an invitation to stop and pay attention to what's going on around me and to, as you said, use that moment to think bigger than the moment, to
yeah,
wish bigger, to dream bigger.
right,
But so it's almost like it doesn't, that's just one number. You may see 1212 or 333
right,
or 444. Whatever you see is about you getting a message. Maybe you're giving a message to yourself
right.
that to pay attention.
And the
And
neat thing is once you start seeing those, once you see the 1111 and then you start paying attention, you'll start seeing all of those numbers,
right.
333, 444, 555, and you see them all over the place. And I often think not only is it a sign for you, and I also feel like a lot of it is about guidance that's around you,
Yes.
angels, guides, whatever you want to call them. So for me, it gives me comfort when I see those numbers. I'm like, oh, like, I don't know, it feels like you're at home or
Mhm.
something with where you come from. Yeah, really beautiful.
It's all
Mhm.
working out. And I feel like those are, so we can love these moments and kind of think how trippy and wonderful they are in the moment. But long term, I feel like they're just like, like you said, it's guidance. It's like the path is being set before you. So in that moment, so it's like, okay, this is a sign that whatever you were angsting about is is going to be okay, or whatever you were questioning, is going to happen. So it's like it's unfolding like an animated movie, like right
Right.
before you as whatever synchronicity is happening.
But I do think a lot of people, including myself at times, become afraid to step forward. You didn't have to, make that move to be with Wade. That must have been uncomfortable at first because here he was, somebody that was kind of in your circle, but you weren't really thinking that
Right,
you were
right.
supposed to be together. And then it shows up. So you have to be brave to do that. And I feel like the message for me anyway, with this video to take home is to follow those
Mhm.
synchronistic moments because I think they are here for a reason, but it definitely requires bravery to step forward to things you don't know. I mean, you
Right,
don't know what's going to happen.
right. Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that would be my message. Would be my message as well. Um, I did have one very recently. It's going to sound so obscure, and I will admit that I don't know what the moment meant because it was so ridiculous, but also so random and specific that I log it. Like it's clocked there, and I if I don't know what it means, it will reveal itself at some point,
Right.
or maybe it's just an affirmation. But we when Wade and I would be silly with one another, and we would always like either try to figure out people's stories. I don't know if you do this with Kevin, but like you're sitting at a restaurant, and you kind of or you're sitting at the beach and you're watching people, and you've made up a whole story in your head about who that person is, and then what the narrative is. It just kind of keeps growing and growing and growing, right? Or you're trying to figure out like what are they doing at that? Why is that person coming in and out of the water all the time? Whatever. So you're trying to figure it out. So we would always call that sleuthing. Like I'm being super
Mhm.
trying to figure out what's happening with the neighbors or what at the table next to me at the restaurant. I'm being a super sleuth. So, I mean, we've just done that our entire time together. And so we're watching one of our favorite shows that's relatively new. It's called Letterkenny. It's a Canadian show. It's on Hulu. It's so hilarious. Very vulgar, but it's very funny. So the main character and his girlfriend are sitting at a dinner table trying to figure something out and they're going back and forth in this banter, and it's funny. And I turned to Wade and I said, "Oh my gosh, Wade, they're sleuthing just like we do." And I'm not kidding you. The moment I said that, the one character says to the other one, "I think we did some pretty good sleuthing here, didn't we, Wade?" And I was like, "What?" Like, it was so specific. I literally remarked that that's what we do all the time. And then they named it just the way we did. Like, it was
That's so
so
cool.
wild. And that just happened. And for me at the moment, it was like, oh, those are the kinds of things that can never go away. Like, again, a reminder, like, it's an indication that
It's almost like a wink. Sometimes that's a wink from
yes,
the universe.
yes,
Like, I
yes, yes,
see
that's perfect.
you. I see you. Yeah. Also what I want to say, because we're running out of time, but one of the things I also wanted to say about this in general, there's also synchronicity when you see animals. Specifically, you always see a hawk when you're thinking about something, or for me, it's blue jays. I don't even know what they mean, but I see them and I always feel like it's like a spirit animal or something, because I'm always drawn to it. Or, anything that sort of crosses your sight line, I think sometimes is also a synchronicity. Do
Yeah,
you agree?
absolutely. Yes, I do. I see cardinals in the same way. So,
Okay.
I mean, they seem pretty common, but they're not that common. They're not like you go out and
Right.
see a pigeon. So it's like I do feel like when I see it, it's a sign. And
It's a
so
sign, right? Maybe well, cardinals, they say, are often like people who passed sending
yes,
a sign. So it could be that, yeah, I mean, and also it's not even just the fact that you've seen it. Sometimes it's the way it appears, like it flies right by you, you're driving and it goes across your windshield or something. And you're like, well, that had to have been for me. So again, like, you can walk around your whole life not paying attention to anything and be fine. But I guess I would suggest that it's way more fun and interesting
Mhm.
to realize that everything has purpose and significance, and to enjoy all of those synchronicities
Agreed.
around
Yeah,
you.
I like what you said. Like, it is about paying attention. Like, those synchronistic moments are just those, just like, hello, this happens all the time, but this moment is to remind you that it happens all the time. So just pay
Yeah.
attention to your own life. And
Yeah. And so we would love to hear what synchronistic moments you've had. Was that synchronistic right
I
there?
know, what does
Possibly.
that mean?
If that
What does
means it's
that
time
mean?
to go.
That's the bell. That's the yes.
Ooh. Yeah.
Stay
So,
by the
like, hit a like and write in the comments what was synchronistic for you, because we'd love to hear you. We'd love to have a dialogue with you. And again, if there's anything that you would love for us to discuss, please just let us know. We would love to do that.
yes. We love being here. This was a really fun conversation, and I'm sure something synchronistic is going to happen out of it. So
Oh,
bring it on.
sure.
Bring
Yeah,
it on.
like maybe coffee's going to drop from the sky since we're in the cafe.
Yes, exactly.
We should have had our coffee cup with us.
Oh, next time,
Yeah.
yeah, like we did to Kathy Lee back in the day.
All right. Well,
All right, everybody.
thanks so much.
Thanks so much. Be
Bye.
well.